Welcome to PoPo's channel. Subscribe to my channel to watch more crochet courses.
The thread is hollow cotton crochet. You can choose a 3.5 or 4.0 hook. Today, I will use a 4.0 hook to show you how to make it. First, we start with a circular stitch. Leave about 10 to 15 centimeters of thread. Hold the thumb and middle fan and wrap it around your index finger. 1 loop, 2 loops, 3 loops. This crochet diagram, I drew it on my computer by myself. You can refer to it. Okay, let's use the hook. Pass through the first 2 loops. Put it on top of the 3rd loop and hook out the 3rd loop. Pick up the hook needle after hooking the long thread through the loop. To start the circular stitch, it's already started. In the first round, we crochet 12 long stitches. The first long stitch is replaced by 3 chain stitches. First, hook 3 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3. Make a mark on the 3rd chain stitch. These 3 chains are equivalent to the first long stitch. Next, we officially crochet long stitches. Loop the thread once and insert it, and hook out the yarn. There are 3 loops on the hook. Thread the needle through the first 2 loops, then pass the remaining 2 loops with the thread. Continue to wind 1 round and pull the thread through the large hole. Thread through the 2 loops. Then pass the remaining 2 loops. This is the way to hook long stitches. Plus the initial standing stitch. Now we have crocheted 3 long stitches. We need to crochet 12 in total. You can finish the remaining 9 by yourself. Now I have finished crocheting 12 long stitches. Let's count them. You can count these small pillars. To check by counting these small pillars 1 by 1. 1 pairs, for pairs, 5 pairs, 6 pairs. There are 12 in total. Next, let's start winding up the thread. Okay, first pull the thread near the short end. Then pull the short thread until the 2 coils are completely tightened. Next, leave a small. Let's make an invisible crochet connection. Hook the 2nd long stitch, which is the stitch next to the marker. The first long stitch, we replaced it with 3 chain stitches. Okay, let's pick up this stitch. From the back to the front, hook this thread to the back. Then we insert the hook from the middle of the last stitch. Here. Pull this thread to the back again. In this way, the place where a small braid shape will also appear. The shape of our braid is equivalent to the first stitch. It covers the stitches of our 3 chain stitches, covered up completely, so you can count that there are a total of 12 stitches. There is no trace of the drawstring. It's very smooth. Okay, let's hide the thread tails next. To hide the thread tails, you can use this sewing needle or a smaller crochet hook. If you are a beginner, it is recommended a little longer. It will be more convenient when hiding the thread. It will be easier. Take any one of these 2 thread tails. We can deal with 1 by 1 and thread it through. First, make a small knot like this, and then there is no fixed method for hiding the thread as long as it is beautiful and strong. pass it back and forth through these textures several times. Okay, I think this is almost done. When you cut the thread, you can leave the short thread. You can leave it a little longer. The thread here is not long enough. Then I'll use this crochet hook to do it. In these textures, just pass it back and forth a few times. Thread it back and forth a few times, then trim it. Next, crochet the second round. You can insert the hook into any stitch, then hook out this thread. Start crocheting 1, 2, 3. Beginners can mark here. I won't continue to mark anymore. These 3 slip stitches are equivalent to a long stitch. Then insert the hook from the same position and hook a long stitch. It's equivalent to, we have made 2 stitches. 2 long stitches are hooked. This is called an increase in long stitches. Continue to crochet an extra stitch in the next stitch. 1 and second in 1 stitch. You hook. Hooking 2 stitches is called an increase. In this round, we will crochet 12 increases and add stitches in each stitch. Everyone can follow this method until you reach the last stitch. Here, I have already hooked the last stitch. Leave a small section. Beginners should leave a longer one. Cut the thread and connect it in the same way. Insert the hook into the second long stitch and then backstitch. Then hook this thread to the back. Then enter the needle from the last stitch in the middle and hook this thread to the back. The place where it's connected, a small braid shape will also appear, so the ends are connected without any trace of pulling. Continue to hide the thread on the back. In these textures, you can just several times back and forth in these textures. To make it more secure, I'll add a knot. I made a small knot on the thread so that it won't come off. So it won't be easy to come off. I won't repeat the process of hiding the thread. You can go back and watch the video. Cut the thread, and the second round is done. I use orange pink thread for the third round. For this round, please pay attention to the position of our needle entry. I use orange pink thread for the third round. On this round, please pay attention to the position where we insert, not the stitch of long stitch, but the gap between the 2 stitches. Can you say tire? Insert the hook into the middle gap between each set of stitches, then hook out this thread from it. And crochet 3 stitches in each gap. First, we make 3 chain stitches as the first long stitch. Then we insert the needle from this position again and hook out the remaining 2. From the next long needle, enter the needle between the stitches. Hook 3 long stitches. We can follow this method until you reach the last group of stitches. At the end of this round, leave a small section of thread. Use the method I mentioned before to connect. Connect it to the stitch of the second long stitch. Hook it to the back like this, then insert the hook from the middle of the last stitch and hook it to the back. Hide the tails, hide the thread in the way I mentioned before. That's all you need. Next, we will crochet the fourth round. The first 3 rounds, you can see that it is a circular shape. Then in the process of crocheting the fourth round, we will turn this circle into a square. We still find each group, and each group of holes, we insert the needle into this hole and enter the needle and crochet. We hook out 3 slip stitches with the green thread, 2, 3. We'll crochet a long stitch from this hole again. Then hook a slip stitch. Continue to hook a long stitch in the next hole. 1, 2, 2, 3, then a lock stitch. In this hole, we'll hook 3 stitches first, 2 long stitches first. Then we'll hook a long stitch. The long stitch is made by winding the hook once or twice, then insert the hook into the hole. After hooking the thread out, there are 4 loops on the hook. Pass the front 2 loops with the hook, then through the middle, 2. Finally, wind the thread through the remaining 2. Hook to chain stitches, then a long stitch, and wind the thread twice and pass the thread through the hole. Pass through 2 loops each time, 3 times in total. The first time, the second, the third time.
Okay.
Continue with 2 long stitches. Second, the position of the corner has come out. Continue to make a slip stitch, then 3 long stitches in this hole. We just repeat crocheting its corners, the part of its feet, which are the stitches we just crocheted. Now we crochet a slip stitch and then 3 long stitches in the hole, 1, 2, 3 long stitches, and then a slip stitch. Next, we come to the corner position. 2 long stitches, 1, 2, 1 long stitch. To chain stitches, then a long stitch, 2 long stitches. In this way, the second corner has been completed. Let me explain to you the knitting pattern of this round. The rule of its corners is 3 long stitches and 1 slip stitch, and hook 2 groups like this. Then hook another slip stitch until we reach the corner position. The corner is 2 long stitches, a long stitch, and 2 chains in the middle. Next is a long stitch, followed by 2 long stitches. Every long stitch between our corners. Each group of between each long stitch are connected by a chain stitch. Everyone can continue to crochet. Continue to crochet. The last corner. After crocheting, crochet a slip stitch. Then we will hook a long stitch from the beginning hole to crochet a long stitch. In this way, the 3 triple stitches are completed. Next, leave a small section of thread, cut it off. Still follow the previous method. Connect and hide the thread. You can take a look. Our current crochet piece has basically changed from a circle into a square. Next, we'll crochet. Next, we will crochet the 5th round. We find the 2 long stitches in the middle and enter the needle into the middle hole. Start crocheting chains. 1, 2, 3, 3 chain stitches. As a long stitch, we'll crochet a long stitch from the hole. The pattern of this group is basically the same principle. We'll crochet 3 long stitches in the hole. Okay, let's hook to first. Then we hook another slip stitch. Next we'll hook from this hole again. We'll crochet a long stitch from it. Continue the second and the third side. There is 3 long stitches, each long. Between each group of long stitches, there is a slip stitch to connect to the corner position, and the same as the bottom, 2 long stitches. One long stitch with 2 chains in the middle, then go to a long needle, 2 long stitches. The pattern here is the same. Okay, a slip stitch in the middle connects, 3 long stitches in the hole. The principle is not hard. 1 slip stitch connects, 3 long stitches in the hole. A slip stitch connects, 3 long stitches. Then a chain stitch connects. We are at the corner again. Position is the same as the position we just crocheted. 2 long stitches, 1 long stitch, 2 chains in the middle, then a long stitch, 2 long stitches, and everyone follows this pattern to complete the remaining part. After hooking this lock stitch from the place where we first started, to crochet a long stitch. If you want to continue crocheting the 6th round, I'll teach you how to crochet it. We'll start from the 3rd stitch of the 3rd chain stitch and make stitch and hook the thread out directly through the loop. Then we continue to crochet from this place downwards and make a slip stitch and pull up again. Pull up a stitch in the next stitch and then pull through the hole. In this way, we can move the starting point to the hole in this place. The next round of crocheting is the same as this round. 3 stitches. 3 long stitches are crocheted in the holes on the side. You can also see from the chart, can be seen very clearly. Between each group of long stitches is connected by a slip stitch. The corner is also hooked with a slip stitch. The hook method of the corner is the same. I won't go into too much detail. Finally, after crocheting, cut the thread and hide the thread tails. If you don't want to crochet the 6th round, we can directly connect here. connect in the same way as before. I don't want to make the stitches too big. If it's too big, it will be heavy. And then the overall structure, I don't particularly like it to be too big. I just crochet this round. For our flower pieces like this, we need to crochet 5 pieces. Everyone can hook it in the same way. And that's it. Now I have finished crocheting 5 flower pieces. Next, we will start the sewing process. I use a new method for sewing. This method makes the stitches more neat and smooth. Let's start by making a slip knot for the red sewing thread. To make a knot, hook needle down and pick it up, then wind the thread through this loop. We make a slip knot first. For backup, let me tell you the position where we insert the needle. Is the back half of the needle and the front half of the other piece. When we are close to this one, we pick the back half of it and the front half of the other piece. These 2 threads are next to each other here. This one and this one. We start from the corner position. There are 2 lock stitches on the corner. We pick the first stitch of the lock stitch and the front half of this needle. One of them is picked like this, and the other one, we pick it from to bottom like this to enter the needle. Okay, then hook out the slip knot. Here, beginners must be slow. Okay, next we will pick them top to bottom. These 2 threads. Okay, like this. Then the crochet hook. Hook the red thread from the bottom. Hook it out from below and hook it out. Continue to pick these 2 threads. And the hook needle is below. Okay, everyone can take a look. My operace and my red thread is always on the bottom. And then hook this thread up from below. At first, some beginners may not be very handy with some operations. Just practice more times. Okay, just hook this kind of slip stitch. This is the way to hook the slip stitch. Actually, we just keep hooking the red thread below continuously. Make sure the stitches on both sides correspond 1 by 1. According to this method, we can hook these 2 sides first. Here on these 2 sides, when we reach the corner on this side, we still use the same method. When we make the second lock stitch, we pass through these 2 threads, then take out the third one. We find its corner position and insert it into second lock stitch. Make sure the red thread is at the bottom and then hook it out. Okay. Pass through these loops, okay? In this way. We have connected the third petal. Next, we will crochet these 2 sides. And so these 2 sides together, sew them together. Use the same method. When you hook the second lock stitch, we still use the same method. Add the third petal. This one is the bottom of our bag. These 3 are the 4 of us. Now these 3 are the 3 sides of it. Okay. For the remaining side, connect it in the same way as before. Here, I have already connected the last petal. To connect it to the corner position, let's take a look at the first lock stitch. First, we pick the stitch on the bottom of the bag, then pick the stitch on the 4th petal. Okay, for the second stitch, we pick the stitch on the 4th petal, and then pick the stitch on the 4 sides. The stitch on the 4th petal. 1 slip stitch. Next, we will sew the 4 sides together. So these 2 sides first. The method is the same. Finally, this place where the 2 lock stitches are sewn together, we can use this beige thread to crochet it out. Next, we use the beige thread again to crochet the upper part. Cut the yellow thread and leave a little bit. 3 stitches as a standing stitch. It's best for beginners to mark the 3rd chain stitch. Make a mark, these 3 chain stitches, as the first long stitch in this round. Next, we'll crochet a long stitch from this hole. Hook a long stitch from the hole next to it. Then hook a long stitch through each long stitch. You can hide them. Hide these 2 threads and put it on the hook. When we are in the hole, we can directly in this hole to hook a long stitch and a long stitch in the hole. Then when it's almost hidden, cut the thread and it's done. Trim it a little bit. The next rule is that we will crochet long stitches on the long stitch needle and then hook a long stitch in the hole. Everyone can follow this method to complete this round. When you reach the end of this round and hook to this edge at the end, and then we hook to the corner again. At this position of the corner, pick 1 or 2 of the threads and hook a long stitch here. Then from the top of the seam we just sewed, the middle of the red needle to hook a long stitch and hook a long stitch. Then pick 1 or 2 threads on its right side or 1 or 2 of the left side and make a long stitch. The next crochet method is the same as the edge we just did. Hook a long stitch in the stitch of the long stitch and a long stitch in the corresponding hole. After hooking a long stitch on our third, on the 3rd chain stitch of the starting chain stitch, to hook and slip stitch. The next 2nd round, on the top, we need to reserve the place for the bag strap. Let me tell you the position. Let's mark it first. Find the corner of the hook. The 3rd stitch on the bottom left, the 3rd stitch here. On this side, the corresponding stitch of the long stitch above. Then find the third stitch here, the stitch corresponding to the long needle above. Also mark it out on this side. Next we'll hook. We'll crochet 3 chain stitches as a foundation. For beginner, it's best to mark the third stitch. Next we'll do, on each stitch of the long needle, correspondingly hook a long stitch until we reach the position of the marker. We'll hook to the first marker first. We have reached the position of the marker. Next, we will crochet about 20 chain stitches in the middle. I have already crocheted this chain stitch. Next, we at the position of the marker on this side, continue to crochet long stitches. The marked button that has been hooked can be removed, all of them. The rule is the same as this side, still crochet long stitches until you reach the position of the marker. Then crochet a slip stitch. The rest of the stitches are long stitches. After the last long stitch is finished, we still need to use the third stitch of the standing stitch to make a slip stitch. Next, we continue to crochet 3 chain stitches as a standing stitch as the first stitch of the next round. Next, we will continue to crochet long stitches. On each stitch of the long stitch, we crochet a long stitch until we reach the position of the handle. Here is the last long stitch. We'll give it first hook an incomplete long stitch here. After hooking the thread out, only through the front 2 loops. For the handle, we pick the 2 topmost threads, which is the middle of this lock stitch, and enter the needle in the middle here. And then hook an incomplete long stitch only through the 2 front loops. Now there are 3 loops on the hook, and pass the thread through these 3 loops. In this way, the transition here has been completed. Next, we still pick the 2 top stitches of the lock stitch and start to crochet long stitches down until we reach the handle of the bag. There is 1 lock stitch left. Finally, there is 1 lock stitch left. We'll make an incomplete stitch of long stitch here. Then from the bottom long stitch and hook an incomplete stitch and pass the thread through 3 loops. The next crochet method are the same on both sides of the bag. We hook the long stitches 1 by 1. We'll crochet until the end. There is 1 long stitch left. Then we hook an incomplete stitch here and make an incomplete stitch on the lock stitch and pass through the 3 loops. This method is actually a method of decreasing stitches. And we'll crochet a long stitch decrease here too, which is exactly the same as our side. You can follow the method I just mentioned to finish the remaining half. Here for the final pull through, we can change to red thread. Complete the pull. Next we use the red thread to crochet a round of short stitches. The method of crocheting short stitches is first hook a slip stitch as a stand. Insert the hook here. You can put the starting thread on top of the hook. After hooking the thread out, wind the thread through these 2 loops. This is the way to crochet a short stitch. Continue to pick each and crochet short stitches. Here we have reached the previous stitch of the decrease. Next, we will crochet a decrease stitch. Okay. First, pick up the stitch and hook the thread out. Then pick up the next stitch and hook the thread out and pass the thread through 3 loops. Through the hook decrease, we can combine 2 stitches into 1. Next, we will continue to crochet short stitches. This stitch is the stitch for decreasing, and there is another stitch before it. Next, we need to crochet another decrease. Pick up the stitch and hook the thread, then pick up the next stitch and hook the thread out, then wind the thread through 3 loops. This is how you finish the stitch. The remaining part
is the same as here except for the handle.
except for 1 decrease stitch on each side. The rest are all crocheted short stitches. Please pay attention to the decrease stitches. Here is this one. Here is the decrease stitch and the next stitch. Here is the decrease stitch and the previous stitch. Here we need to merge them. Finally, we will crochet a round of slip stitch. Start with the first stitch and pull up, then mark it on this drawstring needle. On each short stitch corresponds to a slip stitch.
Leave a small section of thread at the last stitch. Cut it and we'll make a connection.
Find the second stitch marker. Hook out this thread. Then, from the middle of the last stitch, and hook out the thread again. In this way, between the first and last stitches, we use this kind of invisible connection method. We connect them together. Finally, hide the thread and trim the thread ends.